Okay, do this with me. Ready?
Okay.
Hiya.
Oh.
Welcome to Discover Progress, the podcast that used to be just about progress wrestling, but now it's not, because one of us, I don't know where I'm going with this,
has progress issues.
one of us has progress issues. No, we were actually just watching the first two matches of
Chapter 90.
Chapter 90 of Progress Wrestling, and then we thought, well, shoot, we got a podcast to record.
Yes.
So we'll update you more on how that goes. I don't know if you'll actually finish the show or not.
Well, if you don't watch it at home and we watch it at lunches, we'll finish it by next Friday. Next Friday.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, next Friday.
Well,
so like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be another chapter out by then, probably.
Yeah. That's perfect. Mondays and Fridays we'll watch Progress.
Are you sure about that? Because every Monday you're like, let's watch old school NXT.
Well, we can use Tuesday for old school NXT.
Those of you following along at home, we watch a lot of wrestling. Jobs where we watch a lot of wrestling at lunch and then record a wrestling podcast after just spending the last hour watching wrestling at lunch.
We get to talk about wrestling.
So we come talk about it.
With all of you.
So that's pretty sweet. So we oftentimes, lately, have been trying to figure out a schedule of watching different things. Because all of a sudden we're like, let's try. Because it used to be, it started with watching NXT once a week. And then 205 Live for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then NXT UK became a thing. So 205 Live kind of got left behind because we were only doing 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Now we legit do 5 days a week.
Every day at work for lunch, we watch some sort of wrestling related material.
Basically. By the way, you're going to have to finish Progress on it. I'm not here Monday or Tuesday.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can hold out that long to finish Progress.
Well, it'll definitely be next Friday.
Yeah. But speaking of, first I think no, you know what? I'm just moving things around.
Oh, okay. Well, you're doing that.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm moving around.
Okay.
See, I literally wrote that at the top. You can't read my writing, and then I moved it.
Time for the question of the game.
That's going to be our break from this just opening ramble into.
It's all about.
It's going to be the break between the preamble and the actual ramble. I don't know if that makes sense.
Clever.
I did want to talk about though. Because you got a chance to see a little bit of this.
Yes.
I checked out Riptide Wrestling.
Yes.
So what I've been doing is I signed up for Power Slam TV or whatever. You pay $7.99 a month or something like that, and you get access to all these different indie promotions, one of which is Progress Wrestling. Also on there was Defy, which we talked about last week. But I've started doing this thing where I kind of just go through and check out the different promotions. I'll literally watch 5 minutes of something and then be decide, do I really want to suffer through this? Or so most of them I'm no, I'm not suffering through this. So those of you at Power Slam TV, if you're listening right now, can you give us the ability to make our own homepage or something, or follow specific promotions so that we don't have to scroll through that? I don't know how many promotions are on there.
There's a lot,
but so that we can just go to our favorites page or something. Anyway, so I came across Riptide Wrestling, and what initially caught my eye was actually the name. I was okay, where do I think this is going to be from? Riptide Wrestling, and B, the logo. I was kind of that's pretty sharp. I like it. But my initial thought, you know where it's from because I told you.
Sure.
If you remember.
No.
But where would you think, you hear the name Riptide Wrestling, where are you going to think it's from?
I'm thinking an island or a coastal city.
Right.
Riptides are normally equated with
it's the ocean.
The ocean, obviously, and you hear a lot of like Riptide being talked about with surfing. So I'd imagine a surfing city.
Yeah,
so somewhere along.
Long time to say Australia,
California.
Oh, California. Yeah. Okay, No, my initial thought was Australia, maybe New Zealand, something like that, right? With a lot of those same ideas.
Yeah.
No, it's from England.
England, nice. Not a lot. Well, maybe
I'm trying to think where
exactly.
Is it
Essex.
Brighton? No.
Brighton.
Yeah.
You like Brighton.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where exactly it is. Anyway.
There's a song about Brighton.
So I clicked on and watched the very first match of like the latest show that was on there. Again, the thing with Power Slam Wrestling or Power Slam TV or whatever is I'm not 100% sure how up to date they are staying with all of these promotions. So Progress, so far so good. They seem to have the latest chapter and then a few older chapters. I don't know if they'll eventually start removing some of those, like the last, say like, because they have up to, I want to say chapter 83 or something. Like, so we're on 90, so they have all of them from 83 to 90, I think. And then there's some old ones, like 14 and on.
Yeah, we could pick up right where we left off.
We really could. So I'm not sure when this one, I feel like this one is actually pretty new, though. Chuck Mambo, I think, is their champ, which is a familiar name for anyone who's watched Progress Wrestling. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about, because then I went back to the beginning, like the earliest one they have on there, and I watched it, and I was like, man, there's so many familiar names. This is great. Like the main event of the show that I think was like Riptide Returns was the villain Marty Scurll against Jimmy Havoc. So I was like, that's pretty sweet. Eddie Dennis had a drinking match against Session Moth Martina, and so it's funny because you caught me saying this the other day.
Yeah.
Where I called her Session Moth Martinez.
Yeah.
Because in Lucha Underground, there is a Moth Martinez.
Right.
So I'm like, so dang close.
And there's also Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah.
Punishment Martinez.
Yeah. But legit Moth Martinez. Session Moth Martina. I don't even know what her name is. Session, I feel like might be in reference because her character, from what I've seen, is very much like a party girl, right? Like she loves drinking. She comes out to the ring with a beer,
alcohol.
Yeah, and so like a session ale, for instance, is a stronger tasting beer, but the alcohol content is more regular, so you can drink more of it without just getting absolutely plastered right away.
Right.
So I don't know if that's what the session is referring to in her name, like that sort of vibe. But anyway, I'm taking a long time to say that Riptide Wrestling has the most unique presentation out of any independent or wrestling promotion I've seen. So on like Power Slam TV, you got a lot of these things where it just looks and sounds terrible.
Right.
Which is fine.
That's
it's a lot of
they're recording with their phones.
Yeah, it's a lot of these, promotions that are very grassroots, just some of them maybe just getting started, or, like they're small. And with Riptide, like the crowds are maybe a couple hundred people. They're in smaller venues. But the way they present it is so incredible. There's no commentary whatsoever. So they focus on you being able to hear, not wrestlers calling a match, but you being able to hear the wrestlers banter back and forth, banter with the crowd, banter with the refs. And then also on top of that, being able to hear the crowd. Now, that it could be risky if the crowd is just shit.
Right.
Like, and they're just trying to take over the show. But from what I've seen so far, British crowds, I find, are pretty good. Like, they're great with their chants and whatever. There is the odd time where it feels like they're trying to take over a show. But for the most part, I don't get that. And so on Riptide, it's like the crowd really plays a part in the show and how it goes. And then on top of that, the way they film it, I want to say they're all using, instead of using your like a standard, just like, say like shooting something for TV or just like a basic camera, they're using cameras where they've got depth of field and the lighting is lit very different. They've got like a haze / smoke, and like it looks so different. It looks so cool. And then when you get into the different angles that they'll get in camera movements, it's so very unique. And like I don't know if there's anything like a hard cam, for instance. It's all guys, I want to say, with like digital SLR cameras, and it's cool stuff. Anyway, so if you're looking for something unique to check out, I would recommend Riptide Wrestling, because it's It's good. It's good stuff, man.
And you may potentially get to see the Pride of Wales.
Yeah, if you go back and watch that first one, they do end up wrestling. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually finish watching that match because we started watching it before we got into AEW Fyter Fest.
Yeah.
And so I'd never finished. I just went to the next match after that. But I do know they eventually start wrestling, and I think the whole thing is that they're just drinking and get drunk and start stumbling around. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to check out a new sort of very unique vibe, check that out. And I did want to take a minute to just say, like, you're listening to a podcast, so if there's another podcast you could check out if you want to get some neat interviews, especially, this is something I've been listening to lately, especially if you are into, the whole punk rock thing, and the tie of that to wrestling, go check out the podcast Turned Out a Punk. Damien on that show, he also hosts a show on Viceland called The Wrestlers. He's interviewed some great guys. Like I've listened to a couple different interviews. Sami Zayn, he did. Jimmy Havoc, he did. I'm listening to this one with Darby Allin right now. He did Matt Cross. He did, like, there's just a whole slew of wrestlers he's interviewed. Most of his interviews are like musicians, but he's got a love for wrestling too. So check that out. Turned Out a Punk. Before we get into, we forgot to do our actual introduction to the show. I did say, the Welcome to Discover Progress bit, but
with this guy, Adam, and that guy,
David.
I did it wrong.
Yeah, it's fine. I was going to get all that, wherever you're listening to the podcast, please rate it, review it, subscribe, tell your friends about it, help get it into other people's ears. We can grow the show, especially if you like what we do. Even if you don't like what we do, tell us what we could do better.
Yeah.
If you want to do that,
but don't be mean about it.
Don't be mean about it, man. If you want to do that, hit us up on our socials. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Disc Progress, because Twitter said Discover Progress is too long. Too long.
So you hamper my Instagram.
I don't hamper your Instagram. I decided it's just much easier to make it the same.
We are also on the YouTubes.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can find us at allwrestling.com, in which I believe there is comment sections under all the...
There is.
The things, so you can talk to us there, too.
Yeah, I'm just going to transcribe our entire first bit of this podcast to be the 200-word article that has to go with the post. So, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, we've talked about Riptide Wrestling, we've talked about Turned Out a Punk, the podcast. It's time to get on to Adam's question of the day.
So we're going to do the acronym game.
Oh, again. Yeah. And I've also got, just so you know, how many questions do you have?
I have one.
Okay.
It's a long one.
I've got something lined up for you as well. So.
You will remember the first time we played the acronym game. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Yes. So to explain it, you're going to... It's not even like a real acronym. You're literally just giving me the first letter of each word in this wrestler's catchphrase.
Yes, and you have to figure out...
Let me see if I can guess. Okay, this is the letters I'm going to guess right now.
Okay.
Hold on.
Did you cheat and look at my sheet?
No.
Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Microphone hip hap.
Okay.
Mishap. All right.
I've written...
You did not write enough.
No, I didn't write the full phrase. I just wrote the letters.
Okay.
The first letters.
No, you didn't write enough.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
TBI. Oh, wait. No. TBTI. TBTW. TBTEWB.
It's Bret Hart.
It's a very easy one.
Okay, let's see if you can guess what I wrote down.
Okay.
IYSWTRIC.
If you can smell what the rock is cooking.
Yeah. I was writing it down to see if I was like, if he writes it down, that's what I wrote it. I was reading. Okay.
So
ready?
The one I did was the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
You are correct. You did do that.
That's
are you ready?
Yes.
I've got 3 lined up here. I believe
they are ones that I should know.
You should. You definitely know all of these wrestlers.
Oh, good.
I just don't know if Spotify is going to play an ad first. We'll see.
Yay! That's Brock.
Yeah. All right. This is the one that maybe you'll get or not. I'm not sure. Ready? I don't know if I'll know this one.
It's the Hardy Boys? No. Who is that?
You get 2 more guesses. This is the new rule. I've paused it now twice, so you get a guess now, and then you'll get one more cue of music.
I can actually kind of see it, but I didn't recognize it. That's better.
A very small picture.
It's a very small picture, and it was a guy without a shirt. So
you're wrong.
Oh,
it is a guy, but he's wearing a shirt.
Was he really? Huh? I thought I saw a bare shoulder. All right. It's not the Hardys.
You're thinking the right time frame.
Yeah.
I will give you a hint. He wrestled in multiple promotions. At the peak, multiple of the big three at the peak of wrestling.
Was it Dean Malenko? Why does it sound like Beautiful People?
I don't know.
Test.
No, it was Rob Van Dam.
All
right, here's the last
one. Show.
Are you ready for this one?
All right.
You're going to get this one immediately.
I'm here.
Is he here to show the world?
Yeah, but who is it? Who's here to show the world? Because if you guess it wrong off this one, you get one guess.
It's Dolph.
Yes. Okay.
Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, Ziggles.
Yeah, I actually never really experienced RVD.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching wrestling
Fair
when
enough, okay.
he became a prominent figure.
I did not really experience him in WWF/WWE.
Yeah, so
I do remember him from ECW.
My only experience with Rob Van Dam.
For those of you who can't see, he's doing the shoulder thumb point thing.
Is when he returned to WWE for his brief stint.
Right.
Briefly before you started watching wrestling with me.
Probably would have had zero. I liked Rob Van Dam and his how he'd turn his frog splash in midair and stuff, but
there are other people in wrestling that can do that now.
Yeah.
Like Leo Rush. And boy, does he bounce.
Yeah, he bounces. For sure. Okay, so let's talk about I mentioned this earlier that we did watch this, so we're going to talk about it. AEW's Fyter Fest.
Man, what a schmoz.
This is your first official full AEW show.
They couldn't even do the swimming pool.
Even going back to All In. So you didn't see All In.
I saw some of All In.
Did you see some of All In?
I saw the pre-show, and I saw the Dustin Cody match.
No.
Oh, no, All In.
That's Double or Nothing.
That's Double or Nothing.
I
saw
All In
nothing
isn't
of All In.
technically AEW, but that's where it all sort of started. So All In, Double or Nothing, Fyter Fest. This is the first full show that you've seen, including the pre-show, because we also watched the pre-show.
Yes. Which was a good pre-show.
Yeah, yeah. So what were kind of your overall thoughts, I suppose, on AEW?
It was good. I think it wasn't... It has the potential to be, but it wasn't as good as an NXT takeover. But I feel it can rival the quality. Takeover has some of the best quality of pay-per-views.
Sure.
Pay-per-views on the market right now.
Yeah.
It felt like a really well put together house show for an indie show.
Right. See, the thing that I find interesting is technically, I think people were talking about this / treating it as sort of on the level of a B show pay-per-view for AEW.
Yeah.
So in that case,
if I were to put it up against Stomping Grounds, which was, I guess, the closest analog and the closest thing that had happened, Fyter Fest was better than Stomping Grounds.
Yeah.
Stomping Grounds had some amazing matches, and I think one of their better matches was better. One of their the best matches was better than most of the matches.
So which match on Stomping Grounds?
Which was the one? I didn't
remember. Watch it.
Ricochet and Joe was very good.
Yeah.
I remember.
I
don't remember much from Stomping Grounds.
So I've seen all three of the 2/3 of the AEW shows. And I mean, this was by far the one that felt the most kind of standard. Obviously, All In, it was this big thing. Oh, how exciting is this? Double or Nothing was this big thing too, because their first official show as AEW. And then this was kind of okay, we're going to start rolling. It's not quite business as usual yet, because obviously the TV show, TV hasn't happened yet. It's not a regular sort of thing, because I think they've got Fight for the Fallen coming up next week. Is it? Shortly anyway.
Yeah. It's,
it's this whole thing where I had some questions with the show. I thought overall the matches all felt... The thing is, I find with WWE pay-per-views, you definitely run into moments where it's okay, this is getting a little... this match is getting a little And and it's all like they did have some backstage stuff at Fyter Fest, but it was kind of funny because they're making fun of the Fire Festival business. Yeah. But the highlight, obviously, of Fyter Fest for me was the Cody Rhodes Darby Allin match.
Right.
And the
that
fallout.
was a very good match.
The aftermath of that match even was like, wow. I'm interested to see where they're going because there's this weird thing that's going on right now, in that Cody and Darby fought. If you haven't seen it yet and you plan on watching, stop right now. Go watch it because I'm about to spoil the ending. But Cody and Darby fought to a time limit draw.
Yes.
Which was great because Darby is saying, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to show you your record. You're going to be. He came out with a body bag that said 1-1.
Yeah.
Basically saying his record was he was going to lose, sort of deal. And in the end, it was this time limit draw. Because I don't know if the whole story. I saw one video on the road to Fyter Fest where Cody was talking about fighting Darby, but I don't remember if he was saying like, oh, he's like this young guy. I'm just going to basically show him what's up, sort of deal. Yeah, and he just couldn't beat him, and yeah, it was good.
I did like that Brandy didn't get involved.
Yeah,
because it's always like she's there, she does her little spear to the guy. It's not very entertaining when Brandy gets involved.
Here's the thing. So if you go back to All In, so a couple shows ago now, a while ago, when he was fighting for the NWA championship,
Mr. Aldis.
Yeah, she did this bit where Aldis was going up to the top rope to like hit a splash or whatever on Cody, and she just threw herself over his body.
Yeah, well, and that stuff's good, but what they did with the Dustin Cody match, she didn't need to be there.
Yeah, it was great. The only thing that was confusing was that they sold like
the spear is the thing that cut him.
Well, no, it was the cane.
Yeah,
she came over with Cody's cane and hit him in the head. When I'm like, you could have just gone with the turnbuckle.
Yeah,
that was what was the obvious thing. Again, we talked about that a bit, where they cut to like a replay of him going into the turnbuckle, so that was taking up most of the screen, and then up in the corner of the is when Brandy hits him with the cane. It was like, the announcers didn't even realize it happened. But I don't know, her spear was nice enough. It was a good spear, better than Edge's spear.
You take that back.
I will not. It was a solid spear.
He's the.
Go on. He is the what? He is married to Beth Phoenix.
He's married to Beth Phoenix.
There he is.
NXT announcer Beth Phoenix.
Yeah. But back to Fyter Fest. That match, Cody and Darby was great. And then, of course, Sean Spears coming out and smacking Cody.
Right on the dome.
My goodness.
There's a reason why WWE doesn't allow chair shots to the head.
Yeah.
And even
it is kind of
even if the chair was supposed to be rigged, so it didn't do that.
It is kind of entertaining that Cody has yet to. Did he bleed at Double or Nothing as well? I can't remember, but he's yet
Dustin
to be in.
Did.
Well, for sure, he's yet to be in a match on an AEW / All In sort of show where there isn't blood involved in his match.
Yes.
And that blood, though, at the end of this was unintentional, which is funny considering he was fighting Darby Allin.
Yeah.
who's had some bloody matches. But the one issue I did have with the show, without going into every single match, was Jon Moxley and Joey Janela. It was a fine match. I hated the whole it's unsanctioned, lights out, we're gonna turn the lights off, turn them back on bullshit. It was stupid. I'm sure it's like a classic sort of thing that was done in the past when people still thought wrestling was legit. So it just felt dumb.
Well, especially they had to explain the rules.
Yeah.
The main event, the Bucks versus the Lucha Bros.
Yeah, I don't remember if...
they had whatever his name was come out and be like, when the lights go out,
Justin Roberts.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
But when the lights come on, you will get to see Jon Moxley fight Joey Janela in a non-sanctioned match.
Because I don't remember if they did they do anything like that for NXT when Gargano and Ciampa had their unsanctioned match?
No, but they did. They put up the end and the little end card.
They did nice little touches, and the ref wasn't wearing.
And he was wearing all black.
Yeah. Like there was like these little touches that were like, oh, that's great, that's awesome.
We almost turned it off.
Well, no.
Oh no! What was it? The thing we were watching it on. What was? I don't remember what happened there.
Did we watch it together?
I think it cut out. The video we were watching it on cut out or something like that.
I don't remember that. Yeah. Maybe the lights went out.
Maybe.
Maybe I'm giving it this hard time, and it's like, oh, they did the same thing. But so there was that little nitpick, and then on top of it, the whole why did this match need to be unsanctioned when
Just call it a hardcore match.
Exactly. I was like, if AEW wanted to do this thing where like we don't do hardcore matches, that's why this is unsanctioned.
Yeah.
You kind of shot yourself in the foot when earlier on the show you had a hardcore match, even though it was kind of jokey, right?
Yeah.
But you still announced it as a hardcore match and they had weapons.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, they did pull out the barbed wire, I suppose.
I think the idea is it wasn't a hardcore match, it was a death match.
Right.
And AEW isn't insured to allow guys to do death matches.
They need to stop hiring guys who do death matches.
They have
then.
a lot of death match guys in the on
like
the
they
show.
legit, so they showcased two guys who have a history of it there. Plus, also on the show, we had Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin.
Yeah. And obviously hardcore legend Michael Nakazawa.
So there were just a couple things that I was like, okay. And it also, it didn't feel like this was a rivalry that needed that. Like, I understand Joey Janela being like, oh, you're coming back saying you do all that. Like, that's what I do now. This is my yard.
I'm
now,
better
so,
at it than you, yeah.
I was like, all right, I guess, but it just felt, it was kind of silly.
I will say I felt the Elite versus the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid went on a little too long. It felt long to me.
Maybe, I don't know. I know you. I've had discussions with you. You don't like the Young Bucks. It's fine.
I'm not a fan
of
the Young Bucks.
Fine. You don't.
I can appreciate their body of work.
You don't like fun wrestling. It's fine.
I hate fun wrestling.
Adam just hates fun.
Safe and sound on the ground.
Yeah, I mean that's fine too.
I'm not lying.
By the way,
no high flying.
At Evolve, their 10th anniversary show, that Drew Gulak
is facing off
Matt Riddle match is going to be fantastic. But so that's something neat too.
The NXT one was amazing.
Yeah, but I can only imagine this one's going to be better because it'll probably have more time. But by the way, for those of you not in the know, WWE is showing Evolve, their 10th anniversary show, on the network live. So that is kind of neat, and I'm wondering if that's going to be
a precursor.
Yeah, a more common thing that they'll start running, because I feel like that's such a great opportunity for them.
Yeah.
To be doing stuff like that.
Like, if you, as WWE, if you can see the writing on the wall where people are just so hungry for wrestling, they're going to, like, AEW is actually able to become a more prominent thing because of it.
Yeah.
Progress. There's like 20 promotions in the United Kingdom alone.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And then there's at least one for every province in Canada.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
there's multiples.
There's
in
a
Toronto.
lot of independent shows.
There's a lot of independent shows. People
think,
are hungry for independent wrestling.
I don't think they need to start showing all of that, but
no, but like you should be bringing that to your subscriber base by being like, "Hey, Evolve, we want to start showing your shows. Hey, Progress, you're already kind of in bed with us because of the NXT UK thing.
Yeah.
How about we do this?"
My concern with all of that, though, is what will it take away from those potential shows? I haven't watched a whole lot of Evolve, so I don't really know what their presentation is necessarily like. But I know, for instance, like Progress, it's not PG. Like,
no,
the matches sure might be just fine for the most part, but like the language used and stuff would not fly on WWE. But I wouldn't want that to be not like I'm like, oh, hey, I want my wrestling to have swear words. But the fact that I wouldn't want them to be like, okay, but you got to change this.
That's actually my biggest complaint with Ospreay. The couple matches I've seen him in, he swears a lot.
Yeah, but it's hilarious because he's in Japan.
Well, I know, but I understand it.
I think that's why he does it.
Yes,
is because he's in Japan, and it's like, haha, these guys. Because I have often wondered how often are Japanese wrestlers or Spanish wrestlers, like people who aren't speaking English as a first language. Maybe Spanish might be a little tricky, being in the States, that there's a lot of Spanish speaking people, but how often are they actually in their match yelling, and it's just like, oh, he just dropped the F-bomb in Japanese or the equivalent. I wonder if that happens.
Nakamura is just
left, right, and
left,
center.
right, and center. He's worse than a sailor. He'd make a sailor blush.
He's not. We all think he's saying "come on," but he's actually saying some Japanese swears.
Asshole.
Would be kind of funny, but so that is my one thing. I am interested if they're going to start showing Evolve more. That gets me excited. I've mentioned this before. I had a network subscription for a little bit, and I went, I like watching NXT and stuff like that, and we watch it on a network subscription that you've got, and I was like, I don't need that anymore because I'm kind of missing this other stuff.
Yeah.
Of like, so if they started bringing in some of that, promotions like Evolve, and the thing is, like, if they can work alongside Evolve and give them a cut of however they do it,
and let Evolve run their own show.
Let Evolve
anyways.
be Evolve,
yeah,
but also like help take it maybe like even that next little step. So like WWE could start building it where it's like, Evolve is the legit indies when they talk about indies, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, I want to say anyone who's anybody has probably gone through Evolve at some point who's got a name right now, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's just one match, right? Like, I'm sure they've gone through and wrestled, in Evolve. I mean, that's probably not the case for everybody, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, like, you could start treating it that way where it's like, look, this is your actual look into independent wrestling and, something that WWE actually approves of. Hey, is it going to be PG and safe and fun for everybody? Not necessarily.
That's why they have the rating disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
Exactly. Like, you're going to get that rating disclaimer when you go back and you watch old ECW episodes, right? Or even old Attitude Era Raw and stuff like that, right? Like, there is stuff on there that goes above and beyond that PG, so I think they could get away with it.
Heck, they have a special disclaimer for any show that has Chris Benoit in it.
Right.
Right? Like...
Yeah. So...
It's super easy to do. Just be like, extreme violence, language, blah, blah, blah.
The only question I have about the whole thing is that they're running it alongside Fight for the Fallen AEW, which I'm okay with, actually. I think that's great, except for the one thing I kind of go, is that Fight for the Fallen is like... I don't know that
it's a charity show.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a full-on charity, like if they're raising money, or if it's just like a thing in honor of people who have died due to gun violence, right? Like, and being like, we need to make a change. That's my only like kind of question mark about the whole thing. Now, obviously, Evolve was planning their show that day.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the way it was happening. So that there's nothing they can change there. But and I guess WWE, from what I understand, said they were planning on airing this for quite some time, but they didn't. And I don't think they announced it until after or right around Fyter Fest. Like, it was not like they were like a month ago being like, hey, 10th anniversary Evolve show, we're going to be showing it on the network, right? But
I mean, Evolve and WWE have been very closely linked for a number of years.
Like the Evolve
they do NXT versus Evolve events. They do NXT guys are constantly going
Evolve
to
is one of those promotions where we've actually seen current NXT guys go win champions. Street Profits were Evolve Tag Team Champions at one point.
Fabian Eichner was the Evolve champion for a good chunk of time.
While he was, now, having said that, he wasn't at the level that Fabian Eichner is being used now with NXT UK. But
he was getting squashed by guys.
Yeah, he was on TV getting beat.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's clearly been one of those promotions that WWE is okay working with.
Yeah.
However, so that's exciting to watch. That'll be. I look forward to watch. I do plan on watching it. I don't know if I'll watch it live. That is my one thing. Is I'm curious to know, is it just going to be live streamed and that's it, or will it be available on
to watch
demand?
After?
Yeah. Because it could be done very different, because Evolve could be... I'm sure they've got their own streaming service right now. So I'm interested...
I mean, all it is you get a cut of the subscription fees from anyone who watches the show.
Yeah. I mean, it would be beneficial for them to let it be on demand.
I mean, an extra revenue source is an extra revenue source, regardless of
and that's
what
like
you
we were
think about
talking
WWE.
briefly when we were watching a little bit of Progress today. I was questioning, like, what is the benefit for Progress to put their latest shows on something like Power Slam TV
when they have
their own subscription service that's run through the same video streaming service? Yeah. And I mean, the reality is it just gets their name out there. But if it were me, if I were Jim Smallman and crew, I probably would have been like, we'll put shows that are like,
you'll get a month.
You'll be like a chapter behind or something like that, right? Like. But they're not, like they're maybe a day behind when the chapter comes out on demand Progress. But so it is what it is. We live in this world where you can watch wrestling all over the place right now. There's so much wrestling to watch,
which is good, and you should watch as much of it as you can, or as much of it as you're willing to.
Yeah, says the guy who, when I'm like, hey, we should watch this, you're like, nah,
NXT's better.
I kind of want to watch old NXT.
Yeah, I mean, you got me into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, which is funny.
This is a problem of your own making.
It's just funny because, like, I started watching it because I was like, I I want to see some of these matches. And then I was watching a bunch on my own, and then we watched a couple together. Me just being like, oh, well, why don't we watch this? This is where I'm at. And then so we just and now it's just like anytime. I was surprised I got you to watch Progress today.
No, I'm like I said, I'm fine with. I would like to watch one every week at least.
I will say this
because it's enjoyable to me.
So I was trying to watch MLW and ROH again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've kind of pulled back from that.
Yeah.
Only because I find like MLW is great to see a bunch of kind of up and coming independent talent and like the guys who are going right now. Now. The thing is, I feel like I may have found some other shows that I enjoy more, such as like Defy Wrestling
and Riptide.
Riptide's it's neat. I started watching a bit of PCW Ultra, just like checking out things like that. Where I go like PCW, like they have a lot of the same people. Like between PCW and Defy, I'm like I could probably find most of the guys who I found on MLW who I was watching.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Teddy Hart. I haven't seen Teddy Hart and the Hart Foundation anywhere else. I take that back. Actually, PCW Ultra, the latest episode has Brian Pillman Jr. on it.
Oh.
So maybe, I don't know if they're all, the entire Hart Foundation is involved there or not.
The loose cannon?
Yeah. But, yeah, so anyway, I was trying to like smoothly transition 3 minutes ago.
Into NXT?
Into NXT UK when we were talking about Fabian Eichner.
Yeah.
And then I
just kept going. Fabian Eichner.
Fabian Eichner.
Back to this stuff.
He's a part of a thing called Imperium.
And boy,
what
did
are they
do some
doing?
Shit.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So,
interestingly, like with the 6-man tag match that happened, we kind of felt that British Strong Style versus Imperium, it was done. Because WWE no longer does the rematch clause stuff,
right?
And then Pete Dunne isn't in Download Festival either. He's injured, or he's got other bookings, or he's like doing stuff at the Performance Center or for NXT, or they're testing him on house shows for WWE Raw or SmackDown or something. He obviously wasn't available to do the Download Fest, so it's just Mustache Mountain. Yeah. And so. We were expecting, maybe Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel to come out to interfere with the match, setting up a triple...
To insert themselves into the
title picture. What we got...
Was that,
along with Walter and Wolf, and a pair of handcuffs, and Walter repeatedly powerbombing Tyler Bate
into the apron
and the guardrail
while Trent was handcuffed to the ropes watching it all,
being forced to watch
it turned into this thing.
It was dark.
Okay, because I totally expected the same thing. I was like, okay, 2 of them will run down, and then when all 4 of them ran down, I was like, okay, they're just going to create mass chaos. Grizzled Young Vets are going to get caught up in it, right? Because it's 4, but whatever. It just turned into 4 on 2, and no Pete Dunne.
No one came to help.
No one came to help. And so I'm curious, like, are we going to, down the road here, get an 8-man tag? Because that was the other thing I asked, with that 6-man tag match, because it was like, when Alexander Wolf came out...
That was his debut.
Yeah,
he came out...
a 6-man tag match, or was it Pete's match?
It was a 6-man tag match.
Okay, so... That then made it 4 on 3, though, right?
Yeah.
And so my question then was like, okay, well, there's British Strong Style, because we've talked about this, find a 4th.
Well,
and who is that 4th? And so...
Obviously.
Now it seems like that's kind of the direction they're going.
Yeah.
And...
Now, either it's Travis Banks.
Yeah.
You were saying Mark Andrews. I think... It could be Dan Maloney, who is the official, unofficial 4th member of British Strong Style.
I don't necessarily know about Travis Banks because that thing just got dealt with, clean, finished, done, right?
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, because you can do the thing like they go way back, especially him and Pete.
Yeah.
But at the same point, Mark Andrews has his whole thing like with Flash Morgan Webster and whatever.
Well, and also they've just started a thing with Cassius Ohno and Mark Andrews.
Right. Yeah.
Where I feel should take a while and include multiple matches of Cassius brutally teaching Mark Andrews how to wrestle.
That's possible. And then Dan Maloney, he's been referenced at one point as the unofficial 4th member of British Strong Style, which I don't really want to see that. I don't have interest in seeing that.
Well, maybe Chapter 90 will turn it around on you.
Oh, does he fight? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he does fight, doesn't he?
He's in the tag team.
It
with
won't.
Someone.
It won't change anything for me.
You
He's
don't know that.
fine. He's just like whatever.
I mean, we've seen him wrestle like 3 times.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Okay, I've seen him wrestle like 3
I
times.
dropped my pen.
All on NXT. They were all squash matches.
Yeah.
Squash matches.
Yeah. So I mean, I just feel like in that story though, it just needs to be someone with a bigger impact.
Right.
David Starr. No,
It could be.
that'll never happen. I don't. I shouldn't
He
say
just
it'll never.
stomped on the WWE NXT UK Championship.
I shouldn't say that'll never happen. I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And now, having said that, obviously, guys play characters in wrestling, and his whole character is how he's very independent,
Anti-professional.
Yeah, basically. But whatever. We'll see where that goes. So the end of the NXT UK this week, though, just definitely left us going, oh, okay. I didn't see that happening.
Takeover Cardiff is going to be way different than what we thought.
Possibly. I mean, we still have just under 2 months.
Yes.
There's still a fair amount of time to get there. But
It's one other set of tapings, though.
It is, but it's still 7 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
Further away, Takeover Toronto.
closer.
Closer?
Math, son.
Is it really?
Takeover Cardiff is August 31st.
Takeover Toronto's
The beginning of August.
Oh, is it really?
It's like August
well,
10th.
closer is Takeover Toronto.
Yeah.
Just, you completely ruined my segue.
Oh, okay, go with your old segue. Further away.
Further away than Takeover Cardiff is not Takeover Toronto.
Right, it's closer.
Takeover Toronto is closer. And we didn't really get a lot of build-up. I guess we're building up Mia Yim to take on Shayna, whether or not that's...
Yeah, she said it.
She literally called out Shayna.
Is this where Shayna gets her word out, or what if she goes over to the announce booth?
I'm coming
for you.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She's the HBIC.
Protect your neck.
She's the HBIC.
I thought you could have made this even more of a smooth transition.
Could I
talked about the tag division on it, because that's the big story coming out of this week, I feel too.
The lack of tag divisions?
Well, I mean, it is a lack of a tag division, but the fact that are we just going to see the entire tag division in a match for the belts again?
Yes.
I think it'll just be 3 of the 4 teams, though.
You think?
Forgotten.
Kyle and Bobby
Kyle
are
and Bobby being
less than
100%. So again, it's still a month and something. Who knows how banged up they are? But they did magic with Ricochet, where we all thought, oh, he's hurt. He's got that match against Adam Cole for the North American Championship. He won't win it. Oh, he won it? Oh, because they kept him off TV, like out of...
They kept him on minimum duties.
They had time to let him heal
up.
So
he was healed.
He
healed.
I don't know what the injuries are there anyway, but...
I think Bobby's is an elbow, and Kyle, ratched his back.
Right.
But I don't think any of them are, super serial.
Yeah. But the tag, I assume, it'll be a triple threat. We were tossing around this idea, which would be a very kind of entertaining idea.
Yes.
Is that, okay, so let's assume it's a triple threat match, but let's not make it just a normal triple threat match. Your goal as a team is to pin both teams. Not at the same time, but you have to score a pinfall over each team before anyone else scores a pinfall over the other, you know what I mean?
Other 2 teams.
Yeah. So it's not a best 2 out of 3 because you can't pin the same team twice. It has to be each team once, which could be very
potential for 4 falls.
in a
single match.
Yeah. I guess it would be a potential for 4 because everyone would probably get a pin, and then it would just be a battle of who gets the last pin, and you almost have to strategically be watching out, right? Especially once before it's everyone's scored a pinfall, you're kind of like, well, that guy's already got a pin. Can't let him pin this guy. You know what I mean? You're just realistically, everyone would probably just be trying to break up pinfalls anyway because you don't want to let someone get closer unless you had someone in some kind of crazy double team stretch over here and Buddy gets pinned here and you're like, we're not going to break this up because this could turn into a submission or something. So we're going to let that pinfall happen. That's possible. And we also talked if you got DQ'd for anything.
It would count as
a pinfall for the team that you got DQ'd against or whatever.
No regular triple threat rules. No. It's a DQ. Rope breaks apply.
Yeah, but it's not. It's like Texas Tornado though.
Yeah,
you got to let it go.
It's 3 men in the ring at once. Not all 6 guys. 3, but they can only tag their own partner. Yeah, so as opposed to a normal triple threat where you could tag anybody.
Yeah,
you can only tag your one guy.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it could be interesting. That won't be what happens, but
in hell, in a cell.
It does sound a little too convoluted.
It does,
but at the same point, I don't know that it is when you just say, "Look, you got to pin each team."
Yeah,
first one to do that wins. Can you pin yourself? Yeah, you got to pin yourself.
Yeah, 3 teams.
The bell rings and each team just rolls up one of their guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we got that out of the way. But yeah, and I believe we're probably Adam Cole is doing some great work on his championship tour. I believe we got to be getting Cole Gargano again.
Yeah,
and why wouldn't?
Why not?
Why wouldn't they? Like those 2 matches,
categorically the best matches NXT has ever produced.
Like
according to Dave Meltzer,
for sure up there. Like
for sure up there.
Yeah.
The first ever 5-star NXT match,
and the thing,
rated or 6-star NXT match rated by Meltzer, I believe.
Yeah, and the thing I would say about that whole thing is like, I know we started to complain, or at least I started to complain with Gargano and Ciampa as it kind of went on, but this I don't. Maybe it's because like after that match we haven't seen Gargano since.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens when Gargano comes back. What is Gargano going to be like?
Yeah.
And it's just been a little more creative, like Adam Cole just being like, yeah, I'm going to your parents' pizza shop and I'm putting a picture of myself on the wall, and then I'm
buying
going
some pizza,
going to your gym where and saying like, hey, like you guys aren't going to do anything, like just all this stuff. I'm like, he's doing some great work. I'm intrigued. I'm hooked to see what I'm kind of like. Will it be? Because was the last match just a regular match? Yeah. Will it be another regular match? Will there be some kind of stipulation? I don't know.
I feel it should just be a regular match. Last man standing, maybe, but they did one of those.
Yeah, I don't need another last man standing. I don't really like... Last man standings are fine. I don't really like them. I mean, Ciampa Gargano was great because of the finish.
Yeah.
The match itself, again, was exciting, but every time someone's getting counted, it's kind of like... You can kind of think, oh, well, they haven't done this yet. Or, oh, remember when they set up those tables? They haven't gone through those tables yet. Like, there's like these steps, beat by beat, that is kind of played out. And the way that one ended was great, with like Ciampa appearing to be dead and just rolling his feet off the thing.
Yeah, so he's standing.
Yeah, brilliant. That was great. That may have been my favorite match out of their matches, now that I think about it. But
it was very good.
It was very good. But yeah, so I'm excited to see where that's going. Like, I'm still hooked on that story. It's good stuff. I like Tyler Breeze doing his thing. I want him to win. I also think it would be interesting though if like it turned into, because he specifically picked out the Undisputed Era. I wanted Adam Cole's got his match.
Yeah.
If Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are going to be healthy and at TakeOver, but not in the tag title match, I want it to be a 6-man tag match against the Undisputed Era and some kind of like NXT OGs, as he was referred to, and who that would be, sort of deal, right? Like it could be fun. Him being like, no, you may say it's the Undisputed Era, but I've been here since the beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that'll wrap us up for another episode of Discover Progress. Remember, you can find us wherever you find podcasts, and make sure, as well as allwrestling.com, wherever you do listen though, make sure you subscribe, you rate, you review. Let us know what you think of the show. Follow us on our Instagram and Twitter @DiscProgress. That is going to do it for another week, though, so bye-bye.